You know, when I was at school, a kid threw a lump of cheese across the yard and it landed right on Danny the Slacker's head. In return, Danny gave him a proper good slap. And in this life lesson, I learned something very quickly. If you're going to throw cheese at people, you better know how to block punches. So my little comparison of Starfield and Star Citizen brought out many of you cheese throwers, and some interesting points came to the table. If I had to sum it all up, the simple question would be as follows. Does Star Citizen deserve all the hatred that it gets? Well, grab yourself a cheese sandwich and a cup of tea and let's find out. Now straight up, the Cockney Gamer Gang is absolutely blown away by your support. 500 subs in just 8 bloody weeks makes me appreciative of you all. With that, some videos really resonated with you, and whilst Reggie here is a Space Sim fan, the channel is really about gaming in general and not dedicated to just Star bloody Citizen. However, I did want to make this video in particular as Star Citizen is something close to my heart, simply because I spent $115 of my laundered money to get it. So straight to the point then, does Star Citizen deserve your hate? No, of course it bloody doesn't. Hate is a strong word, people, and only reserved for the justices at the Supreme Court for being pathetic morons. The people that make Star Citizen are hard-working individuals like the rest of you, with families to feed and their own little personal shit going on. So don't be a twat and throw hate at these people, unless of course they work for Frank the Manx gang. However, Star Citizen does deserve your criticism. It deserves your frustrations, your irritability, because it's a $400 million business, and that needs scrutinisation, people. I tell you now, the boys in blue would have me. They would have Reggie. They'd have Johnny Two Shoes for money laundering if I had very little to show for my $400 million. But even with all the issues surrounding Star Citizen, it also deserves your support too, your praise, your acceptance of its ambition. So let's make this simple and split today in 2 parts, shall we? The yes and the no side of the argument. But before we go into the negatives, let's actually go into why this game could be the greatest of all time. What Star Citizen is trying to achieve is nothing short of first class. What we are talking about here, people, is an always online connected space sim that you can banter with your mates on. The vision is a universe where thousands of players interact with each other, where you can land on any planet at any point across a vast star system, where you fly a multitude of ships that you can walk about in, where you can take part on mammoth combat missions, where first person elements such as shooting, mining, cargo hauling, they all come into play. You can even get arrested for being a dick and go to prison. Then there is the beauty, the absolute sheer beauty of Star Citizen that hits you across the face like you just called Will Smith's wife bold. When you read about it, when you see it, when you start playing it, you can't help but feel that little warm sensation in your pants from the wee that seeps out. The vision here is nothing seen before in video games, and led by renowned gamer and designer Chris Roberts, a British-American lad who knows his stuff, having created the superb Wing Commander. And the price of entry to all of this, people, isn't as bad as what the naysayers will have you believe. Sure, you can be a muppet and you can spend thousands, but you can also get access to all of this for $45, much cheaper than most brand new releases today, because every ship in this game can be farmed and bought with the game currency. And yes, it's an alpha, but there is so much to see and do in here. As an example, the moment of simply going to your ship is nothing short of mesmerising as the scale hits you. I mean, think about it. You have to walk to the bloody subway to get a train to the spaceport, and along the way there are all these little fancy shops to go visit, and before you know it, you're just enjoying the world as you are consumed by capitalism. Lovely stuff it is. And the ships, people, Jesus on a stick, they are magnificent. The detail in them, the textures, the way they sound and handle, they truly feel like you own them and they are personal to you. That is your ship and no one else's, no matter what Johnny Two Shoes tells me. And your mates can join you on your ship, and you can inspect other ships from afar, or you can land to any place of your choosing. Then there's the fully fledged space stations towering over the planets below, and for your $45 there is far more going on too. There are these cargo missions, combat missions, mining missions, all on top of your exploration. And it's a simulator, people. It is there to simulate the dangers of space. It takes time to land, to enter the atmosphere, to get your location right. Yes, You have to carry cargo by hand versus it magically disappearing from your inventory like it does in other games. And yes, you have to buy every single item that's on you. You can get lost in this, and it has more depth than the sand that we buried Jack the Crack in. And the big one is coming, people: server meshing. Here is where the universe finally becomes one, where all the servers work like one big hive mind. That means thousands of players can connect simultaneously, like one big nerd orgy, where items remain where you left them as you log in and out, where the performance will see vast improvements as loads are taken off the single servers. Once this is complete, Star Citizen should be all about the content and the optimizations versus the actual tech and the behind the scenes that are powering it all. And that's why Reggie supported it, you see, because it's an ambition, a vision that I've dreamed of playing since witnessing the cheese throwing incident of yesteryear. So Star Citizen has all the ingredients to be the best game of all time. Potentially, because this is where we come on to the other side of the argument, where we have every right to criticise. This is the first point to some of you fanboys. You see, you can still love a game and criticise how it works. I watch my beloved Tottenham Hotspur, but still get angry when they're tosh, which is more often than I care choose to talk about. I enjoy my lovely wife, but she frustrates me every time she turns on that Kardashian bullshit. And I respect the vision of a company, but I have every right to question where my money has gone. So let's talk about the first issue I have, which is the tech. Or more to the point, server meshing. Oh, bloody hell, You know what? I am sick of hearing it. It's like Willy Wonka's golden ticket to utopia, where release will be upon us. No, it won't, people, because we have no idea just how successful this tech will be once actually launched. After all, we are the bloody alpha. Unless there are several rows of apes before us, where there's an alpha ape in place, which is tested before it gets to go to the testers. And more to the point, how will it cope as the game continues to upgrade itself as more details are added? I'm not saying this isn't a major milestone, people. I'm saying that 10 years of development has shown me not to get too excited by these promises. You see, for me, the tech is a concern in general. 10 years ago, this vision was striking. Today, there is less wow associated with it. Other game engines are fast encroaching, and before long Star Citizen will need yet another overhaul, just like Carrot Top's face. I'll use Microsoft Flight Simulator here as an example of great tech and how it's developed. They've managed to replicate a one-to-one scale of planet Earth. Just think about that, people. That's 197 million square miles on your computer, all in high fidelity. You can even see your street and your house. Very handy, by the way, for planning bank jobs, no less. And it's unthinkable a few years ago. But the streaming technology means the game exists as much on the outside servers where the data is held as it does on your PC. What could that mean for the future of gaming? We think it would be impossible to have a game like GTA where every building can be entered. The sheer volume of data would be too much to handle. But what if this shit existed elsewhere? What if it was all streamed to us, where all our computers had to do was take the code and visualize it? Microsoft Flight Simulator is doing things that are a technical marvel. Questions are going to get asked of the Star Citizen development people, and rightly so, because the tech is still just promises than it is actual fruition. Because let's be honest, unless you are in outer space in those sections of the game, it will otherwise run like a two-pigged pig being chased by a wolf, because the servers cannot cope. And you people talking about, oh, here goes Reggie with the clickbait deformable bedsheets article. Shut up, will you? I don't think you lot understand the issue that I have here. I understand the development team of Star Citizen is vast. I get that there are teams and expertise dedicated to all sorts. Just because a team is working on deformable bedsheets doesn't mean the team can't work on server meshing. But my padawans, it doesn't mean we can't be critical of how resources are being utilised. The people making deformable bedsheets could be making other important shit, like optimisations to ships, or even some simple code that does the control rebinds much easier than it does presently. I mean anything but deformable bedsheets. A request made by no one, a feature no one will care about, and a symbolic place of where the tech priority has gone with Star Citizen. Oh, but Reggie, it's not actually been in development for 10 years. You know what? I will give you that. Yep, it probably hasn't. Likewise, I doubt Starfield has been in development for the full 10 years either. You people think these game companies have 500 odd staff working on a project like that for 10 solid years and have nothing to show for it to the shareholders? Of course bloody not. They may have a small team working on concept art and stories, a very, very small part of the overall team, which only scales up nearer the time of release. And so Star Citizen has not been in development for the full 10 years, but it has only got one project to focus on. That is Star Citizen. And they have since opened up a mega office in dreary Manchester, England, which will house 1,000 people no less. That's 1,000 Mancunians joining together like an ancestral orchestra. That's in addition to the 700 people it already employs. Now, Mr. Chris Roberts grew up in Manchester, so I'm sure there are plenty of chums around to make this game. But that's where your funding is going, people. It's in staffing, in real estate, in IT systems, a HR department, employee insurance. To put that in perspective, even with inflation adjustment, that's more expensive than Titanic, Harry Potter and the Half-Blooded Bloody Prince, and even Avatar. Star Citizen would go into the top 5 most expensive films ever made, and that's only based on the latest figures, of course, which no doubt is more in 2022. In terms of gaming, it is the most expensive game ever made, and has cost almost 100% more than what the next game supposedly cost, which, if you believe it, is Star Wars The Old Republic. Whatever game is in second place though, the fact is true. The sheer expense being poured into the development means after 10 years we expect more, we deserve more. We have every right to be frustrated at the constant "it's ready when it's ready", like your mum telling you that the Sunday roast will be on the table at any moment. The lying cow. Oh, but Reggie, you can't have seamless transitions from space to planets in other games, unlike you do in Star Citizen. Many of you people have called out Starfield for this, as proving why Star Citizen is so great. And guess what? I wrote this in the comment to one of you lovely people, and you are spot on. I feel interplanetary seamless transitions are a big deal for a space game, and that is a big loss for Starfield if you want to talk about immersion. No Man's Sky and Elite are two good examples of it, and I think Star Citizen does it better than anybody. But people, that does not make a space sim. Just like your wife asking if it's in yet makes you good in bed. What makes a space sim is content, actual living and breathing systems with great design, great UI, and a wealth of places to go visit and explore. We need to stop focusing on these little areas of game design and placing them on a pedestal of why Star Citizen is so amazing. It has lovely little features, wonderful little moments in fact, but I want more to show for my money now after 3,650 days of development. I want an actual game to play, people, that is better optimised. So I want to end this video with a simple question to you supporters, and no sitting on the fence here Chris Roberts style. My question is simply this: what would you be willing to accept as a development time for us to reach a full release? 15 years, 20 years, 30 years? The fact I'm even having to ask that question sums up the issue with Star Citizen, in that it's a self-feeding machine full of biased confirmation from its fans and the ignorance as to how far this project has come. I love Star Citizen for what it wants to be, but I can't love it for what it currently is. Now play nice in the comments, and I'll be back with more reviews soon. Reggie out.